Okay, guten Abend. Hier ist Mama Ulita. Sexy Sunday Talk. It's Sunday morning. We record this. Wir nehmen das hier auf. Ophelia Flame ist meine Interviewpartnerin hier für den Sexy Sunday Talk zum Thema Stagefright, Keep Calm and Shimmie. Es geht darum, euch da draußen ein paar Inspirationen zu geben, was ihr tun könnt, wenn ihr vor euren großen Auftritten, vor Speaker-Auftritten oder was auch immer für Botschaften ihr in die Welt tragen wollt, ja, tun könnt, um eure Nervosität, eure Aufregung ein bisschen in den Griff zu bekommen. Und Ophelia Flame ist seit über 20 Jahren Bühnenkünstlerin für Burlesque und teilt gerade aktuell in ihrer Twin City Burlesque Akademie ihren erfolgreichsten Workshop, Keep Calm and Shimmie, Calm the Fuck Down, für Tipps und Tricks zum Thema Stagefright. Und die ist jetzt gerade aktuell in Las Vegas bei der Burlesque Hall of Fame. Wir haben uns in einen ruhigen Raum zurückgezogen, dass sie ein bisschen Zeit hat, mit mir zu sprechen, um dieses Thema in die Welt zu tragen. Also, ich möchte hier ganz herzlich begrüßen Ophelia Flame from Minnesota. Hello! Hello. Shimmie, shimmie! Yeah, I'm so grateful for your time, that you take the time in between the shows and all this crazy stuff going on at the Burlesque Hall of Fame. Yeah, I would just like to introduce you a bit to the audience because this is Sexy Sunday Talk on my Burlesque fan page, Mama Ulita Burlesque Empowerment, and I want to share tips to the audience with you because you're the expert about stage fright and what you can do to keep calm before you go on a stage. Yeah, and I would just want to say you're Ophelia Flame for 20 years in Burlesque, and you're a board member of the Burlesquekünstlerinnen, which is the biggest convention about Burlesque in Seattle, happening since, I don't know, a lot of years. You will tell about. Mm-hmm. You've been to Hallandale, the Burlesque beginnings of the Burlesque Hall of Fame in California. So just introduce yourself, my love.
Yes, hi. Well, thank you for having me. It's always so lovely to see your face.
Yeah.
I just adore you. And yes, I am at the Burlesque Hall of Fame. I have my beautiful wristband that if any of you have ever been here, you know how it can ruin an outfit. So I'm removing, but I'm here in Vegas. It's very exciting. And yes, you asked about my background. Yeah, so I can't believe 20 years. How is it 20 years? I started performing. I went on a road trip with a girlfriend to Hallandale at the Goat Farm in 1999.
Whoa.
And yeah, and didn't really even know what I was getting myself into. I competed and took home a title. Who knew? I remember it was terrifying because Catherine Delish went before me.
Wow.
And did her, yeah. I had to follow Catherine Delish, and she did her peacock bird cage act. Anyway,
okay. I've seen this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was a wonderful, beautiful, life-changing experience where I just met my people, right? So, and since then, I have traveled to perform. I continue to teach. I have the Minnesota's first school of burlesque, and what else? Yeah. That's it? That's basically
it. I mean, Burlesque Hall of Fame is from California, moved to Las Vegas,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so it was in Hallandale, California, which was in a little tiny town just sort of outside of Barstow, about halfway between Las Vegas and Los Angeles.
Okay.
So the desert middle of nowhere. It was a strange place. And so then I think it was in 2006 that they moved everything from the desert, the goat ranch, to actual Las Vegas proper, which is a better place and a safer place for the collection to be. And at that time, Dixie was starting to ail, and so they brought her here, and she had more care rather than just living in the middle of nowhere.
Dixie Evans, this is a story, an extra story. Dixie Evans, who founded the Burlesque Hall of Fame, another story.
Yes, yes.
But
Well,
yeah,
it's actually Jenny Lee was the original founder.
Jenny Lee,
But then Dixie definitely took it for
Jenny Lee, the bassoon girl. Everyone should know because she's the tassel twirl. Super cool. But that's
a whole other story, right? Yes. So it's been since 2006, I think.
Cool. So we both met in 2017 at the Helsinki Burlesque Festival. So I want to also thank on this way Betty Blackheart for inviting me and you and all the other people for so many years. Betty, we love you. And that's where we met, and we had a very special connection because I remember as I met you were this bright, like glowing lady, and you just took my hand and said, okay, let's sit down and see what's happening. And then we just get presented penis origami. This was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was just like someone performing penis origami. So if there's something on the internet, I will show it. I will put it in the show notes that you know what penis origami is, because it was life-changing.
It was, and the look on both of someone took a photo of us.
Picture, yes.
And that photo just says it all. We're just like,
okay. There's this thing, penis origami, which happened after the show. Mm-hmm. But what we are here to discuss, because this topic, Stagefright, is your most successful class that you already said when you teach. I mean, you teach performers, you teach women who want to transform, who want to tease, who want to learn more about themselves and transform, and also even if they just start, they maybe want to go on stage and present themselves to an audience, wherever it may be. And in your own work, you have all this experience with stage fright. And we were talking about everyone has it, but nobody really likes to show it, or there are strange things happening when it happens with you. What can you tell us about it, or what do you want to share? Because this is what I would love to bring out, that people have something to take away from this talk.
Yes, I have to really started with my own. I had to go through my own transformation and my own very sometimes difficult look at myself and my actions. I think stage fright is something that by and large really affects most people, and a lot of people maybe even have symptoms that they don't realize. And meaning just sometimes the behaviors or, particular needs or that sort of things, like I've mentioned before, like needing to have a cocktail or, even maybe other things to be able to perform, or other behaviors that are just like I know that for me, when I am really anxious, I just get super bitchy and really bitchy and short and terse with people. And actually those people are like my family, people that don't deserve that, right?
Close.
Yeah, it's usually the ones we love most that, get the horns, right? And so it was really through my own self-transformation of recognizing, I had a number of things. I had a physiological response where I just sometimes would get completely cloudy in my thinking. I would have a difficult time, remembering my choreography, or I call it working yourself up into a froth, where it just was like, and I can be all like cool and calm on the outside, but I'm just a fucking mess on the inside, because I have and then add insecurities and expectations. I have competed. I've performed at Burlesque Hall of Fame. My gosh, I think it's 9 times. There is no greater audience than, that audience of 800 people of your peers who are burlesque aficionados, to push that button of anxiety of like, are they going to like me? Am I going to do good? Blah, 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 and just setting all these insecurities, I mean, and I am a confident person. I don't feel like I normally behave this way in my everyday life. So through just really sort of looking and really deconstructing all my own behaviors, that led me to think of finding more resources and trying to make some big changes. And interestingly, I grew up, I think I was telling you this before, that I grew up with, in a very, my parents are both yogis and, hippies. And so I grew up in this community of like having all these resources, sure. And having resources about being calm. And, my mother is also a yoga instructor as I am. And, I do all these things in my everyday life as well, that I'm also a yoga instructor and I'm a massage therapist and, all of these calming things. But yet I'm still like, I can't do this for myself, right? Calm the fuck down, right? And so it's so funny that I had all these resources on one hand and all these sort of issues on the other, and I hadn't merged them. And so in the new course that you were just mentioning, I share those resources that I finally was like, well, why am I not doing some of these breathing techniques from yoga before I go on stage? I have no idea why I never, but it, connected them. But I suddenly had a revelation and put them all together. And it's made a huge difference for me. And I think that I started teaching the class because, one, I had to have my own deconstructing to be able to share, right? So, and then it felt honestly very vulnerable to say that and to acknowledge that was an issue that I had, because we're all supposed to be so cool and calm and put together all the time, and we're just not. No one is.
No one
what I mean?
Yeah.
No. So
I mean, that's what I took your class, and even that's why I invited you, because I really feel like, okay, this is very important and golden knowledge what you share in this class.
But tell me, sorry to interrupt you, but tell me, you're nodding, so I'm assuming you agree. Do you struggle
because
with
I mean, you have this little quote inside where you say, okay, this balloon person like, and I mean, I perform a lot. I had a troupe for 8 years, and I left the troupe, but as I was active with them, I think I was even unbearable for some of my colleagues there, because even one guy, he said to me, I don't want to share a room with you because you are so loud and you're just annoying. Because my was, I'm a very energetic person, and I love so much what I do when I perform. And then it was like, even now, you see, I have this red thing because I'm excited to talk to you. I feel like this physical reaction and all this energy that comes up, it needs to get out of you. I mean, and you can't in the backstage. There's no space. I mean, it's like you're just full with hairspray and clothes, everything everywhere, and there's no space where you can just expand. So then of course it comes out of my mouth, and I had to smoke a lot, and I was just like drinking, and I was like, whoa, until you can release. And even in burlesque, I mean, even when you have a troupe, then you just have not only one time where you perform the whole night several times, and this stress level is just like going, and this is not healthy.
No.
And even when you go out of the shows, you just like, your brain's gonna just like blah 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 blah, and you just can't calm down. And maybe next day you have to go, even when you're on tour, for example. I mean, you just need strategies to rest and get your energy slow. And I guess there are a lot of performers out there, wherever they come from, that could really need these techniques, because as I took your class, I had the feeling like, oh my God, this is so good. I should have known this 10 years before.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, because like the breathing technique, what you have in, and also you have this meditation inside. And I mean, meditation, even I'm not into this meditation thing. So for a long time I started with that, but it does so much for you. And
it does.
For your calming, for your inner calming, even. I mean, I really can recommend everyone to take this class and just to get into this physical and also emotional understanding what's happening, and how to release. So,
well, thank you, and I'm so glad it's helpful, because again, it came from my own struggle, and then as I sort of got over my fear of shame of admitting it and then sharing it with other people. It's like, as I've been talking about it more and more, it's so many people that it affects. And so it's not
the
just
vortex.
It's not just you. Yeah.
Yes. It's good. I mean, the vortex just takes it. It takes it, and we can get the energy, and it releases. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Saying it out loud, sharing it.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like all of these things are so important in our everyday life as well. And as I mentioned, I'm a yoga instructor, and I have been for many years. And more difficult than the physical practice is the mental practice for most people. And so when you mention meditation and you're like, oh, I don't like meditation, people, even in most yoga classes, they don't teach you how to meditate. It's not something that we're taught how to do. Yeah. And it seems really uncomfortable. And it's really uncomfortable to just sit in our own thoughts, or our own racing thoughts, like they call it the monkey mind, right? Swinging and swinging and swinging, right? So, for me, one of my measures of success, like I started really looking at attainable measures of success in burlesque. Okay. So, and for me, you can say like, well, I want to be reigning queen of burlesque at the Burlesque Hall of Fame. That's a wonderful goal if that's really what is driving you. But that's not an attainable measure of success, right? Because it's not within your control. You can do your very best, and you can go and you can do all the things, and it's still not something that's within your control. Applying with your very best application, going there and doing the very best that you can, networking in all the ways that you can. Like, these are attainable measures of success. Yeah. And so for me, an attainable, like doing all of, say, for example, like my best performance is not how many rhinestones I have, how I executed it perfectly, and how much applause I got. Yeah. That's not because rhinestones are sort of, dare I say, overrated, right? Everybody loves rhinestones, but it doesn't make your act better, really. Better. No, yeah. It's like the same with props. Yes. Props is the same thing. If you don't use it, right. Just use same. It. Yes. So for me, my fundamental measure of success is being as present as possible. Okay. So and being present is really challenging. We're really doomed, in our everyday life, because, we're always thinking about the future or regretting the past. Right. Yeah. And add in other responsibilities, like if you're a parent or something. Like, I joke with my girlfriends who have children that it's like, in order to really be a good mother, you have to be considered a good mother. You're, 10 steps ahead with like, did you make the lunch and all of the things? Like, how can you be present? Like you're just thinking about, or the things you forgot, Yeah. So I think by that meditation, that guided meditation that I did is really just like active presence. You don't have to be sitting in some, Zen garden, but to be able wherever, and even better to be in a dressing room with your eyes open, not burning incense, not, but like sitting there and just taking in and experiencing all of those things as a present moment without worrying about when you're going to be on stage or, all of those things. So I think, and the simple way of active meditation is just sitting in your space and taking in the sounds and the sights and the smells and all of those things, where, people, this happens a lot in meditation in class where, there's something happening outside, or it's distracting, or that person talks too much, or, what I'm saying? Like, and I've been that person too, so I'm teasing you. But, all of those elements are what, if you welcome them in lovingly, knowing that those things are all entitled to that moment as well, because they're the part of your immediate moment in that reality. And instead of welcoming, instead of being like, oh, it's distracting, welcoming those things in with love and acceptance is a huge part of just active presence. Yeah. Yes. So, and then with that, you can go out to share what you want to share, and being present also for the audience, because then the audience also recognize, okay, this person is there for us. Well, and think about and think about too, when, like, I say that there's two fundamentally sexy things. And that's dangerous because sexy.
Golden knowledge, ladies.
Golden knowledge. Because sexy is subjective, right? Like people say you can be the sexiest, juiciest peach on the planet, and there's still people who don't like peaches. Right?
Yeah.
But what single most universally thing that is sexy is what? Confidence. Well, there's some people who don't think that's sexy, but you don't want to have any part of them, right? And then
they're scared of that.
Yes, yeah. Those are not your people.
No, that's not the crowd.
No. And then 2 is really presence. You know, I think that presence is like, if you think of a sexual experience, right? Like you're not thinking about your hair or your lines or your poses. You're just like doing it, right? You're just like doing it. Yeah. Having at it. Yeah. I'm wearing a caftan. You can't see. So yeah, you're just like doing it, right? And you're living in that moment. You're breathing in that moment. Well, at least when it's good, right? I hope you all have had good sex like that. I can tell. So, yeah. So, and it's also what we give to those that we love, right? We give them our time is so valuable. So, you know, I think that people, even on a subconscious level as your audience, they recognize that when you're really present and when you're really disconnected. And so that is ultimately my goal is not perfection, because we know that that's unattainable, but it's actually as present as possible, and that to have a connection with my audience. And the key to doing that is getting your shit together, right? You have to get your shit together. You can't, you know, it's like you have to have your own, you know, things in order before you can share with others. And part of that is really, it's really simple and all that and difficult all at the same time. And one of the fundamental things is really breathing.
Yeah. So maybe you can just share something for our listeners or watchers, that maybe a little glimpse into that course that you maybe just can share for now, to help maybe, I don't know, if there's something that you could just give from for sure, for someone who is maybe yearning for release, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, definitely. You know, I think it's amazing how, even though it's something that subconsciously we all do all day, every day, is breathe, right? Our you know, our autonomic nervous system is what's taking care of making sure our muscles are getting enough oxygen. But what happens when they don't, right? When we breathe shallow, you know, we're often, so I think I mentioned this in my video, is that when babies are born, we all breathe with our bellies. I'm going to move this down here so you can see my lovely caftan.
Yeah, kaftan style.
So when we're born, like babies breathe with their belly, and then we start breathing with our chest. Some point we start breathing with our chest. And when we're breathing with our chest, we breathe really short and shallow. But when we breathe with our belly, you have the opportunity to expand and pull in. So that diaphragm opens, fills the lungs, and presses all the air out, right? So is that weird? My hand gestures, does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah. So, you know, just by thinking of like, so someone had explained too, like, well, what about when I'm in a corset, right? And I'm backstage and I'm needing to breathe. And someone gave me this great example that I think is really helpful, is that imagine that you're breathing, because even when your ribs are contracted, imagine breathing like you're filling an inner tube up down here, right? So you're filling an inner tube that's around your waist. So you can still let your belly out. I mean, of course it's going to hold you in, but then as you're pulling in. So as you, sometimes it helps to put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, just to make sure that you're breathing with your belly and not your chest. And if you're breathing, I'm going to tip down a little bit. If you're breathing with your chest, your shoulders are going to raise. This happens, right? So if you're breathing, you have a straight back, and you just let the belly expand. And I'm going to push down again. So like your belly, you're breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And I like to do a count of 3. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, and exhale, 3, 2, and 1. And just finding that even breath is really what is happening, is you're giving well, first and foremost, your brain, what it needs, which is oxygen. So when we breathe shallow, we're not expanding our lungs to our full capacity, and we're not sending that fresh oxygen. I sort of think of it as like taking out the trash, right? So like you have to, imagine if you put if you have your refrigerator and you just keep piling groceries in the front, that's chest breathing, right? Because it's equally as important to exhale, right? And clean out the refrigerator, So it's like, but imagine the mess in there. So by doing that belly breathing and getting that full expression, of the diaphragm to fully expand the lungs, and then, exhale all that excess, out is really that helps a lot. Even, and just in your everyday life, oh my gosh, like you're driving in traffic or on the subway or, we're in situations stressful in, like, let's be honest, the world, especially in the United States, I'm telling you, is a challenging place to be. There are stresses among us for sure. So, just really, that's one thing that while we can't control all the stresses and anxieties around us, we can take care of ourselves and just
ourselves. Yeah.
That's where it has to start, right?
Yeah. And this is all also what I feel like this whole burlesque thing is about: loving yourself with all your breath, with all that you can just share. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, definitely. I've seen
you.
Yeah, of course. I've had definitely my own transformation, over the last 20 years in discovering who I am. And, I think that burlesque is so magical and wonderful, not only because it shares, it celebrates all ages and shapes and sizes, but also it's a place where we have really authentic conversations and sometimes challenges to ask ourselves as a community, but also ourselves about our own self-discovery and who we are as a culture and who we are as people.
Oh yeah, as people.
And being. As beings. Because and there are not, I'm so grateful that I have such a community, in Minneapolis in particular. I have such a great community of women who are going to hold me accountable for my shit, but also lift me up when I need it. And, I think that there's so many communities, and overall, I think that while there is always challenges in every town, in every community, there's always drama, but there is, sorry, I'm getting a warning there on my screen. Okay. So, I think that we are so fortunate that there are, women, I think universally are taught and expected to sort of have this idea of perfection, right?
Being the best. Being the best.
Yes. And then forming this thriving, this desire to compete against one another. And and we are sadly in the minority that we are in, and daily. I have women come in, I call it joining the fun cult. Join the fun cult,
I say join the glitter tribe, but fun cult, it's very nice too, yes.
Yeah, yep, yeah. So I think that, and I see women daily who have never experienced what it's like not to worry about their appearance, to worry about their body shape, to worry about their age, to not have to worry about, just having to compete, to being, what car they drive. It's so much petty shit that people, so I think that burlesque is really a unique environment that we can offer this opportunity to, have this self-discovery. And it's my pleasure and honor.
Yeah, let go of this competitive shit. Yes, competing in the Burlesque Hall of Fame, competing. This whole pageant thing is competition in a way, but when you see it from the basis, how to develop an act or how to develop something which you develop. It's self-driven, it's self-made showgirlism. I say in German, I say, ich bin ein self-made showgirl. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
Like
great.
showgirlism, I don't know, let's create a new word for that. But yeah, you don't have anyone directing you. It comes from the inside out, and you can just make everything a topic and just create with your own hands. And you don't need to have a level in dance or a level in juggling or artistic background or whatever. You can just tell a story out of your experiences because it's creative. And like what you say, the most important thing is to be present and to know your message, and to have fun with it. I mean, that's the basic burlo. It's like fun. It's fun, and I think it's Italian. Burlo means der Scherz. It's the fun quote, the fun thing.
Well, I always say that, I mean, burlesque is radical. It is a radical performance art because, you know, that we know, even though we know that sexy is subjective, we still put all art is vulnerable, right? Whether it's painting or music or whatever, there's all an inherent vulnerability in presenting art because people might not like it. And you know what? When you're presenting your body as a work of art and you're making this declaration that like, this is sexy or this is funny or this is, you know, all of these things, like that's terrifying. But the truth is, and you know what? There are people who aren't going to think it's sexy. And you know what? Who fucking cares? Because it's not your job. Who cares? Because the truth is that, you know, there are in the audience, like burlesque audiences by and large, they love people, you know, even though maybe you might not be their magical person, they still appreciate and love whoever is on stage, right? So you can let go of that anxiety. But the truth is like the fact that you are going out and having the courage to present your work of art, which is your literal body of art, is radical, and it's profound, and it's meaningful, and so important because, as I'm sure you have too, I mean, there's people who come up who say, oh, I'm so inspired that you know, I just turned 50. I'm 50 years old, and like, I make no apologies for it, and I'm so thankful that I can go on stage and sort of change these ideas about what it means to be an older, you know, because for all intents and purposes, I am 50, I'm a mother, I'm all of these things that say that I should not be doing what I'm doing. I shouldn't celebrate my sexuality. I should just shut up and go make somebody some fucking cookies or something. Vanish. I don't know.
Vanish. Your refrigerator. Vanish. Right. Please.
Right. But I do not feel like, I feel like there is enough space in the world for, you know, everyone to be seen.
Yes. Yeah. And let's take up the space and expand, because that's what my mission is also, like this female empowerment, this empowering moment of just being present, being there with your story is what I guess what you do with your mission on your, as a teacher, as a performer. And that's, I mean, why we are talking together, because I feel this needs to be heard in the world. Okay, this is German based more, but who knows where this goes, this video. So what I would really love to just say to the audience, I just switched to German now. Ladies, ihr habt's gehört, also es ist scheißegal, wie alt du bist, wie dick, dünn, was auch immer dein Background ist. Es gibt nur diesen einen Moment, den du als deine Präsenz wieder umarmen kannst, und dafür ist Burlesque einfach genau die richtige Kunstform. Scheißegal auf Perfektion, scheiß auf Perfektion, scheiß auf Konkurrenzdenken, was die anderen denken. Es geht um dich, um deine Lebensfreude, und ich denke, das ist das, was Ophelia Flame in ihren Kursen macht, oder nicht, ich denke es, ich weiß es vom Herzen, und das ist auch genau das, was ich mit meiner Arbeit mache, Female Empowerment, und deswegen habe ich Ophelia eingeladen, und deswegen wollte ich einfach, dass ihr wisst, was da draußen alles möglich ist mit Burlesque Empowerment. Yeah, and I just want to finish this wonderful interview. Thank you for your time, because we are reaching nearly 30 minutes. Ich würde nur kurz sagen, alles, was wir hier jetzt besprochen haben, wie ihr den Kurs von Ophelia buchen könnt, ich put it in the show notes. Also ich werde es unterhalb von dem Video posten, dass ihr einfach wisst, wie wir hier irgendwie in Kontakt kommen können. So, noch einen letzten Spruch für dich. Love yourself enough to do this. Let's do the magic and enjoy your life. Goodbye, Ophelia. Say goodbye.
I love you.
Love you, love you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. Mwah.